welcome back to the channel. So in today's episode on the HPI Trophy Flux Buggy, we are going to upgrade the ESC from 4S to a nice 6S. So the one that I did get is a QUICRUN BL150 4 to 6S ESC. I will put a link in the description of where I got this one from. So as you can see, I've already removed the original ESC that was in there. So obviously that sat right there, nicely tucked in. Now off camera, I have done a bit of, not a modification, but I'll just show you what I'm up to. So this is the original mount for the ESC. That fits in there nice and snug. But the new one is just a little bit bigger. Just a little bit bigger. Width-wise is fine, but length-wise, it's not going to fit. Now, I don't want to cut this because I still want to use this. So what we do, and a lot of people do it too, is just make custom things for their cars. I found a little bit of a nylon skid plate that I had in my scrap drawer. And I've cut it to size. Now that's going to fit in there nice and neat. Cut that nicely there. So the mount that the Hobbywing ESC came with is this one here. I've cut off the tabs where there's screw holes, so I won't be needing them anymore. But what I'm going to do, screw this plate down to this plate, have the original holes still mounting in where the holes go there, and then have this plate screwed into that, and then obviously the ESC will mount onto that right there. So that's the whole plan, and that's what we're going to do now. So before I do get into all the drilling, there are 4 mounting holes which the ESC mount onto. If I screw down this plate, I won't be able to access the holes for the mounting plate. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to mark these 4 holes out and then drill bigger holes underneath right through. So then with my long screwdriver, I can go straight through and still unscrew the ESC off its mounting plate if I do need to ever change it again. So that's just a little something that I'm going to do. Hobbywing does make mounting holes for the mounting plate. Plate goes on like that. See if I can get a nice shot for you. There you are. There's the mounting plate. And so yeah, we're going to screw this to this, but I'm going to screw this to this nylon plate. Because there is a gap, got about 2-3 mil gap, I can put some flat screws in here and screw it down to this plate there. So if he screws into this, screws into that, or 4 screws straight through with nut and bolts. Still got plenty of gap underneath to remount it onto the chassis, and then drill bigger holes for the 4 mounting screws for the ESC. All right, so the holes are done, drilled through, oversized them a little bit, so at least I can get one of my hex screws through there, but I haven't disturbed the plate that it's going to be on. So like I said, now I've got access to put the screws through. Like obviously I can mount the screws and have them resting in there, and when I need to, I can screw them in from underneath. All right, so I've drilled those holes. As you can see, there's 4 holes there on the ends. That's where the plate's going to go. Now I'm just going to mark out 4 more holes to mount this plate to the pre-existing plate, and then yeah, we'll go from there. All right, so I've marked those 4 holes. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to drill one and then bolt it and then continue on from there so I don't mess up on the holes. All right, that's through, and I've got a couple of screws I'm going to use. They're going to go straight through. So as you can see, they are lower than the mount, so they won't disturb the ESC. Then they're a little bit long on that side, but I will cut them down later. And I've got a little lock nut to go in there as well. So we'll get all that together. So one thing I just have done now is I've put the 4 screws in. So they're just resting in there. And that way now I can just at least tighten one up, and that'll lock that plate down. Not worried about the screws that I'm using. They're just like cheapy screws from the hardware store, but I do have lock nuts on them on the other side. So that's just locked in for now, as you can see. All right, so I've jumped a few steps ahead. I've mounted the Hobbywing ESC right there. Still kept it on the original mount that it came on. Put all the wiring back in just for the receiver and the power switch. Came without a an XT90 plug. So I'm going to have to put an XT90 plug on that, and then make myself a Y connector, because I'm going to have to run 2 3S batteries in here, or I can go out and buy myself a 6S battery. But what I'll do first, just in case anything does happen, I'll save some money and I'll just run the 2 3S batteries in there. The ones that will fit are my 5500 and a 3300. I know they're not identical. One's probably going to get a little bit hotter than the other, but they're the only ones that fit nice and snug in here. Eventually I'm going to have to probably buy another 3300 so they fit in here comfortably, and then yeah, we'll go from there. So that's going to be it for this video. It's just a quick one. Obviously you can see there's no shockers on it. I did blow out the shockers on my last video with this. The 2 front ones snapped completely off the shafts. The back one bent, and the only one that survived was my right rear. So yeah, waiting on some brand new GPM shocks at the moment. So I'm hoping that the drivetrain will hold up with the brand new ESC. We'll see how we go. Like always, take it a little bit slow at the beginning, and then we'll give it full power and send it. But yeah, so I'm just hoping that the drivetrain will hold up. I'm pretty sure it should, because I've got the beveled gears in the front and rear differentials in there. So yeah, we'll see how we go. So yeah, leave a like and comment. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.